Alright guys, what is up? Purple Bandana here. This time with some MC Edit. I know this is going up on Sunday, which is normally a redstone video, but as I said in the update video, if any of you actually watched that, is going to be involving some MC Edit things as well. So today I'm going to be showing you how to do eroding, mostly for mountains and kind of like cliffs and ridges and things like that. I'm going to show you my basic technique. There are other techniques that you can do as well, and I need to put this and this at 10. Yeah, I know how to count, and then I'll hold shift to make this go up faster, and I'm going to put it at, I think, let's do 52. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little mountain. Let's start by making just like a nice little base. Use the square because I'm going to erode it off and make it much more interesting. So kind of just do a little pattern there. Let it go through. That's decent shape. Let's fill in this middle section. I think we're good there. Just do a little bit more over here. I made it a little higher. I'm going to, just because of how I'm doing it, I want to get rid of that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, so now let's make narrow it out a little bit. So let's make this a little lower, back down to 20. Let's add like a little smaller section here that we can erode down. And more over here. And then we're going to do the same thing, maybe a little higher than that. And let's make this a little smaller. Let's put it down to 5. 5, there we go, and then this is the last little section up here. So now that we got our basic mountain shape or cliff or whatever you're going to do with it, we're going to take this square tool and change it back to a round, and we're going to select erode. The first starting option we're going to do is 6, not 5. We're going to go to 6, and we're going to just kind of go loosely over the edges, the top edges, just to erode things down a bit. Just kind of haphazardly spread your brush or your tool over the top. I know it's kind of, you see jagged and stuff right there, but let's go to the other side and do the same thing as well. Would be the where you have like harder edges, you want to put a little bit more, like over here you see that I did as well. It's going to erode it down a bit more. So then we're going to go and do the same thing until we get all the way around. And just continue this. Nothing really else more to say here, other than that it's thundering where I am. So hopefully it doesn't affect the video too much. Let's go to the next layer up. Repeat the process until it's all this gets done. So then almost done here. And then we'll get to the more part that's a little harder to make it look a little better. Got most of this done. Alright. Last top section. Just kind of go all over the outside. There we go. And that should be good for the first section. Okay, obviously this does not really look like much of a mountain, but what we're going to do is lower it all down by 1, and we're going to go over it a little bit more liberally on certain sections. Like right here is pretty darn flat, so we're going to go over that carefully and just do the same thing on this flatter section. Over here is kind of flat. Over here as well. Up here. Up here. You're going to use it more on taller sections. Like over here, this is much taller. There's a flatter wall. So then we're going to go like this. Get this flat section over here. Anything that's really flat, either vertically or horizontally, is what you'll want to go over with the 5 brush. Go over here, do the same thing. Continue. Let's go over here, do that a little bit. Get these corners because you see like this whole thing is very flat and it's not very realistic to how Minecraft normally works. Has Minecraft's cliffs and mountains, or any of mountains that you'll see in real life at all. So we're just going to try to even it out a little bit over here, up here, do it a little bit, get over here, all over this area right here. Okay. Okay, we're almost good. Get that. Get over here. I think I missed. Yeah, so just you want to be very thorough. Like, don't try to rush things. I might be going faster than you if you try to do this, but that's okay. Just take your time. Make sure you get everywhere you need to get thoroughly, and don't worry about these blocks like this. You can just like floating blocks, because if I try to like go like this, it doesn't always get it, and it sometimes just messes up what you're MC editing before. So you can just go. That's why you want to go back in and with your hand and get rid of any really lame or just really bad irregularities, just to make sure it looks the way you want it to. So get this really flat wall. If you have like a really long stretch of flatness and it doesn't want to even out by doing things like this, you can either go from the corner or from the top. Like so right here, I'm going to go down and to even it out a little bit. Let it load. Keep going until it starts to even out and looks flatter and much more natural, I guess. So this does take a little bit, but it's a lot easier than doing the whole thing by hand and trying to do it with like world edit and stuff. You could, but if you don't have a bucket server or something like that to put it on, this is an easy way to do it, and I prefer it this way because it just allows me to do a bigger area and see it. Because in Minecraft you can't really get this bird's eye view quite as well as you can, because you can't zoom out enough without losing your render distance after you get far enough, even if you do have far chunks on, or 16 chunks or whatever it is. So almost done, I think, with this bottom layer, but the next two layers won't be that bad because they're much shorter. Kind of just get all the way around. Maybe you might have to go around a couple times just to, get it all the way down, smooth out corners, make it more rounded. So as you can probably notice, this still doesn't really look like much of a mountain, but if you're really going to want to do mountains, like really realistic looking mountains, you're not really going to want to use this. You're going to want to use World Painter, but I can do tutorials on, even though I'm not the best person to look at for that. I can do basic tutorials if that's something that you're interested in. This is more for making boundaries in cliffs. I guess I should be referring it to more of a cliff, but you can still use these for basic mountains. I still would have to do a lot more smoothing for me to get it the way I want it if I just want to use this as a standalone mountain. I will give you some examples of things that you can do with this, the mountains and borders in specific. Like these are more of a border for a map. Like say if you have like an adventure map or a SG map or something like that, and you want to just make something that looks good but is still functional as a border, this would be something good for that. You can, of course, use these as regular mountains, but they might not look as good as World Painter mountains. If I'm just going to make a mountain as a scenery, like if I'm just making scenery, I'm definitely going to use World Painter. But if I'm using a mountain for a specific function, like this, that is something I'm going to use. So to get up to this top layer and start smoothing things out a little bit, just kind of drag your brush over the top a few times, and then around the side and the circumference of it. And then just do like little short ones for evening out the rest. So I think I'm mostly done here, just a few more. Get those really like bumpy ridges and stuff up here. And then this got turned really flat. See, sometimes you have to look at it and go over it a few times because you might erode something in one way which might flatten out another. You can't really judge that well. So that's why you have to go over a few times. So now that I got that done, it still doesn't look all that great. It still has those floating chunks and things like that. There's actually still a couple flat pieces here, just really light brushes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower it again to a 4, and I'm going to try to be very more detailed and go into areas like this, ones that are caving over, and try to erode those down a little bit. Maybe try to get rid of some of the weird spiky bits that are just popping up. So this is what you're going to use to make the corners look more rounded as well. So I'm going to get in here, get rid of anywhere there's dark shadows and stuff like that. Try to even those off. Unless you're trying to get a specific indent, like say if I wanted an indent over here. Let's see if I can do it. It's a little harder because sometimes it doesn't like to cooperate because you have to come at it from a certain angle. I'm going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And yeah, that worked a little, but not as well as I hoped. Come on, go in. I'm trying to get this piece right here, but I think you get the idea. You just kind of want to go underneath instead. I'm going to see if I can. I don't know why this part won't erode in. See if I just spam it over. I'm still experimenting with best ways to do it because I've only been really playing around with it ever since I started a specific map with destruction that I will probably get to eventually. I may show that as a little bit of an example, but yeah, I've been doing a lot of stuff with MC editing lately. So let's get rid of the really tight ridges. If you want to get rid of like 2 block gaps and stuff, you just go like that, and then it will smooth out. I'll make sure it's on the top. Make sure it's on the top. And yeah, so let's get this corner over here and this corner over here. Okay, starting to look a little better. Starting to look more mountainous and less just kind of like a blob. It's getting there. It takes quite a bit actually to do this, but it's still, as I said, faster by hand. So almost done. So let's just look at this side for right now so I don't have to do the whole thing and bore you guys. After you do that, say you want grass or something like that on the top, there's 2 different methods you can use. You can either use replace and replace the stone with dirt or grass. I'm going to go with grass. And I'm going to make it a little bigger, 5, and you can just kind of spam where you want it. And that gives you more of a precise location and stuff of where all the blocks that you want. You can obviously go smaller, like 3, or different shapes and sizes with like odd numbers and things like that. And then you can just kind of go over. Or what you can do is you can do topsoil, which I don't like that much because it sometimes messes things up and it doesn't end up the way you want it to. But I'm going to show you filter. I have other filters by like Seth Bling and a couple other different people. It's all the way at the bottom probably. And depth is how many blocks it goes down, but it sometimes glitches out and you have like, I don't know, dirt blocks in the wrong place and they're just kind of floating. So I'm going to do 3 to be safe and see. Hopefully it doesn't. Sometimes it works really well and other times it doesn't. Like I think this actually worked pretty well, except for you see down here. See what I mean? There was probably a floating block here and then it went 3 blocks down anyway. Then over here it worked okay, but then you have these weird overhangs. So if you're going to do topsoil, you'll definitely have to go over it again. That's why I prefer to use just the replace tool, because it takes a little bit longer, but I get more precise locationing of things and it doesn't overlap and blocks and you don't have to worry about it. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of that. Get in there. Just make sure you cover it really well. Just same thing as like if you're painting a wall or something like that. You just gotta be careful and judge it and make sure you're getting over everything. Alright, so this is the side we're really looking at. I really only want to get the tops and the flat areas. I don't want to go too far down here. Maybe if I do like a little, because see, this looks kind of weird. Like you don't normally have dirt in the side of the wall. You just kind of want to go to where the flat part is, the top of the mountain. So maybe I put a little bit down here or something like that. And right here, just to even it out. But then I got to make sure I get the top of the ridge real well. Right here. And there it loads. Let's see. Come on, load already. Get that. And we're mostly done with at least, well, of course we didn't do the other side, but this is the side we're focusing on. Get rid of that. And let's see. Then you just look at it. This looks decent. It doesn't, as I said, it's not going to be a beautiful mountain. It's not going to be something that you make with World Painter. This is going to be something you use as a functionality. So what I'm going to do is show you an example. Let's save for right now, and I'll see you guys. Alright guys, we are in a survival games map I've been working on called Spiral SG, because it, as you can kind of see, it kind of spirals up the mountains. You can kind of see each other from everywhere. There's going to be caves and things like that, which I'll get into another episode. But this is all with MC Edit. I've done nothing in Minecraft except make the world itself. What I've been doing is basically the same techniques, not texts, same techniques that I showed you before. The Erode tool, all of that, get Erode. And just mostly using the 4 actually, because it gives me more precise. It takes quite a bit longer, but allows me to be very precise, just kind of going over the tops and getting the corners, dragging it in, you know, making sure it gets really nice indents, and then rounding off the top so it has less of a square edge and more of a round edge. So as you see, you can do quite a bit with this stuff. You can get, there's still some areas that I need to, you know, flesh out, round off a bit. And if you get big corners like this, what you can do is just fill it in with some blocks and you'll be good. But this is pretty darn good, I think, so far. Hope you guys are looking to be interested with more MC Edit videos in the future. Next will probably be either caves or spawners. Tell me in the description what you'd like to see, or if you'd like me to get back to some more redstone, actual like command blocks and different, you know, boxes or gameplay things, like the invisibility motion in the 5 lives box. Because I do have some other things in there that I'm working on, but not as much as the MC Edit stuff. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Bandanna, and I'll see you guys next time.